Okay, on this problem, the denominators match, so we don't have to really worry about them. The only thing we're going to be dealing with is the numerators, and that's where our math's going to take place. We're going to have 3x minus x, which makes 2x. And then we have negative 6 minus 7, which makes negative 13. And then we just bring our 5x over, and that's it. That's all there is to it. So you combine the numerators, you're doing a subtraction, and just leave the denominator as 5x. This one's not much different. Instead of a monomial, we now have a binomial for our common denominator. But again, they do match, so we're still just looking at the numerator, so don't get confused by that. We have 5x minus, or plus a negative 2x, I should say, which makes 3x. Then we have negative 1 plus a positive 3, so negative 1 plus 3 is 2, so it's positive 2. We're going to say plus 2, and bring over our denominator of 3x minus 4, and we end up having option 2, which is 3x plus 2 over 3x minus 4. Okay, this is the type of problem that we have where the denominators are very similar. The only thing is the signs are different on the denominator on this side than that one is. So what we got to do is we want this to be a negative 2 and that to be a positive x like we have over here. And since both signs need changed, I can just multiply the top and bottom both by negative 1. So I can rewrite it here. Okay, so I went ahead and just rewrote this. That way I can show my math. And what we're going to do, we're going to multiply by negative 1 over negative 1, which is going to change my signs, but not really change the value of this rational expression. So I'm just going to bring down the 3 over x minus 2, and then I'm going to make this a plus. Now I've got to distribute here. I've got to do negative 1 times 1, which we know is negative 1. And then on the bottom, the negative 1 multiplies to the 2 and the negative 2, or the 2 and the negative x, I should say. So it's just going to distribute. So negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. Negative 1 times negative x is positive x, which can be rewritten as x minus 2. So if I bring this down, if I want it to all look the same, I can rewrite the denominator, this denominator, I can rewrite as x minus 2. Now they match. 3 plus negative 1 is a positive 2. So I have 2 on top and x minus 2 on the bottom, which is option 4. All right, for this problem, we have denominators that are completely different. So we're going to make it look like this. We want the x plus 2 and x minus 1 to stay and make one denominator as a common denominator. So to do that, we're going to have to take this x minus 1 and multiply it by the 4 on top. So the numerator and the denominator on this rational expression. And then we're going to have to take the denominator from this one and multiply it over here on top and bottom. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so I rewrote to give us a little bit of room here. I'm going to multiply on this side by the denominator of the opposite rational expression. So I have x minus 1 over x minus 1. That's multiplying in. So what that does, we're going to just go ahead and distribute the 4. We'll have 4x minus 4, and that's going to be over our denominator of x minus 1 times x plus 2. Doesn't matter that I wrote it backwards than what you have in your answers. And then on the other side, we're going to multiply by the x plus 2 denominator, which matches the other rational expression that we're combining here. So we have x plus 2 over x plus 2, same as multiplying by 1, so I'm not changing any values here. I'm going to bring down my minus sign, my subtraction sign, and we're going to distribute the 3. I have 3x plus 6, because 3 times x is 3x, 3 times 2 is 6. Then I'll bring down my x minus 1 times x plus 2. And now I can go ahead and look at my numerators and put them together. So I got 4x minus 3x, which is 1x. Negative 4 minus a positive 6 is negative 10. So I got x minus 10 over x minus 1 times x plus 2. So if I'm looking at it, again, ignore that the x minus 1 is first and it's not in your answers. It does not matter. So I got x minus 10 on top. Should be option 1. Just a quick review here of what happened. We had different denominators. So I need to take this denominator and multiply to this side, this denominator multiply to this side. This is what we got here and here. On this one, we took the 4, distributed to the x minus 1. That gave us 4x minus 4. And on the other side, we have 3 distributing into 3x, or to the x plus 2, which makes 3x plus 6. Again, 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 2 is 6, and then the denominators just kind of go together and just stay there. It's saying x minus 1 times x plus 2, which gave us that option for our answer. Okay, and this is your, what we're calling your level 5 problem. That'll be on your little quiz that we do tomorrow. You've got a difference of squares happening here. You got x squared minus 25, which factored out comes out to x plus 5 times x minus 5, which is why you have all of your options have that for you to give you that little hint that that's what's happening. So let me go ahead and rewrite this as being in factored form. Okay, so now we've got this rewrote to where I've got x plus 5 times x minus 5. It's the exact same thing as the x squared minus 25. If you were to FOIL this back out, the 5x and the negative 5x would cancel each other out. That's why you don't have a b value. So on this side, we need a denominator that also has the x plus 5. I've got the x minus 5 part of it already, but I also need the x plus 5. It doesn't matter that this is on top. All right, don't let that confuse you. That does not matter. We need our denominator to have this down there. So I'm just going to go ahead, same way we would any other time, multiply the top and bottom, both by the x plus 5 that I need. That way, now we'll have a common denominator. Alright, so this makes it a little bit trickier, I guess you could say, on top, because we've already got that x plus 5, right? And then we're multiplying by itself. But we still got to FOIL that out, okay? Because all of our answers are expanded form, so we need to expand this. We need to do the x plus 5 times the x plus 5 and then multiply the 4. Or we could even distribute the 4 and then multiply. It does not really matter. Let's do our little scrap work here, though. I'll just do x plus 5 times x plus 5. I kind of already know what this is going to give me, but x times x is x squared. X times the 5 is going to give us plus 5x. And then we're just basically doing it again. We got 5 times the x, which gives us another 5x. And then we have 5 times 5, which is 25. Alright, so just to this point, what we did, x times x gave us this x squared. Then we had this x times that 5 gave us this 5x. Then we went to the next term. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 5 is 25. Alright, so I can put these together now. Combine my like terms. I have x squared plus 10x plus 25. Right? Alright, but we cannot forget we also have a 4 here. So that's going to end up getting multiplied with it as well. Okay, so now let's go ahead and multiply the 4 into the x squared plus 10x plus 25 quadratic that we have. When we do that, we have 4 times x squared is 4x squared. 4 times the 10x is going to give us 40x. And then 4 times the 25 is going to give us 100. That gave us a little bit more room here. Let's rewrite this. We have 3 over x plus 5 times x minus 5. And then we're going to subtract. We're going to use our expanded form that we've worked out. We're going to subtract 4x squared plus 40x plus 100. And bring over our denominator. Now all we got to do is combine our numerators. We've only got a 3 over here, so that can only combine with that 100. But we can't forget we got a negative. We got a negative here, it's a subtraction. So negative 4x squared and then negative 40x. So you got to make sure you pay attention to that. Distribute your negative and you should be fine on this problem. And then you got 3 minus 100, which is going to give you a negative 97. And that's over x plus 5 times x minus 5. And if you look, the one that's got the negatives all the way through, we've got option 1, which is negative 4x squared minus 40x minus 97 over x plus 5 times x minus 5. Hopefully this will help and you guys will be ready to take your little learning target check tomorrow. Just make sure you can take it at any time. So if you need to wait till 5 o'clock to where you're ready for it, study, that's fine. But you can only take it once. So make sure you're ready for it when you actually do it.